Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fourth for Growth Show. I'm Ricardo, and today I am joined by the one, the only, Mr. Rodolfo Sierra.
Good morning.
Hi, Rodolfo. Welcome, Rodolfo. Glad to have you here. So, Rodolfo, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What are you about?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show today. Super excited to be part of what you guys have going on here. And a little bit about myself. Well, husband, father, business owner, been married for 12 years to my beautiful wife, Jackie. Got two fantastic kids, surviving as much as we can during these coronavirus times. But, so far, so good. And then, small business owner, trying to make it happen again during these crazy times. And so far, so good. So excited to share my experiences and what we've been doing to, get the family unit to be great and the business to be great as well.
Let's start off with business. How's business? What have you been doing differently? Have you redefined your business?
It's interesting. So we've been at it since 2007 as we began our business. And if you guys remember, in 2008, 2009, we had a big financial crisis. And we are in financial services and insurance. So, we had some challenging times back then as a new business startup. And we're just are experiencing it as we go through it right now as well. And it's those businesses that are willing to pivot and change are the ones that are going to survive and thrive during these times. You can't just put your head in the sand and say, I'll wait till it passes, because we're at a pivotal time when you have to redefine and change your business model. So for example, one of the first things that we did as soon as we found out when things were shutting down, I think it was right around spring break here in Texas, I think it was the first or second week of March, immediately we did a training for all our agents on how to have virtual meetings. I mean, we set up WebEx accounts, Zoom accounts, whatever we could find at the time to get our agents on just how to have a call just like this, right? How to look at a camera versus looking at the screen, how to, share screens, simple, basic 101 stuff that we just were forced to do versus other agents that we talked to was like, oh, we'll just wait and see till the end of the month, see what happens. Oh, wait till the end of April and see what happens. Well, you're already behind, 6-8 weeks. And so the people that were willing to embrace the change and willing to move to an online way of doing business, or a virtual world, if you will, are the ones that are coming ahead, because now we are 3 months into this, and this is not going to change anytime soon, in my opinion. So you have to just keep moving forward and trying to find new ways to do business. I mean, I've done more webinars, as all of us have in the last couple of months, and more trainings than ever before, because people are hungry for that information through these virtual means.
Man, can you imagine if you would have just still been sitting and waiting?
In our business, it's typically face-to-face, belly-to-belly, eyeball-to-eyeball is the way our business is done. But that still can be done with a camera, right? As long as you show your face and you can express, I guess, emotion or just have a conversation with the phone or through the video camera, it's almost like being in person, So, it's just being comfortable in front of the camera, just like you're comfortable in front of a client. It's just a different way of communicating. But you have to do it. You have to do it, or else you're left behind.
What advice would you have to the small business owner that's still waiting or hesitating to pivot or to even explore another option?
I mean, you have to start. If you haven't started thinking about it, obviously start thinking about it first. But I mean, you have to make this change. I mean, so one of my good friends, he's a small business. He works for a small bank, but they're one of the biggest small business loan makers, if you will, in Louisiana. And he's just, telling me how many businesses that he works with are suffering because either running out of capital, right? So they're going to the banks to get some more money, but the banks aren't lending as much as they used to because of what's going on. And, he's just worried about the bankruptcies that are going to be happening anytime soon because his businesses have failed to change. I mean, just a simple fact. I remember when all this started, it was my wife's and I anniversary back at the end of March, and we were celebrating, and we were struggling to find a place that was open because there was no restaurants, right, that were serving food for good reason, right? So one that we found was Del Frisco's Grill here. What they were doing was they were selling meal kits, and you could buy groceries, from them, and they would give you the recipes of their famous dishes, and you could then go cook your food at home by buying the groceries from them versus having to go somewhere else. So we had, a Del Frisco's meal at home with all the fixins, everything they had to offer. I was able to pick it up in a to-go bag, and that was the only restaurant I found at that time that was doing something like that. So just making small changes like that, have really helped these other businesses kind of continue to maintain as they figure out how to grow. So I think just little changes like that, just rethinking how you can do the same thing just in a different way, is make a big difference.
Yeah. Great advice. I appreciate that. Now,
Absolutely.
one of the things that I admire most about you, even when you sent me your bio last night, was you put husband and father before business owner.
Mm-hmm.
How has this changed the dynamic at home? You have three kids,
Two.
two kids. Why do I say? Why did I say
Don't
three?
add a third.
You have two
We're good.
kids. You have
We're
two
good with two.
kids,
Yeah.
Christian and Brooklyn, an
Yes.
amazing wife, Jackie,
Thank you.
and everyone's at home.
Yes.
How has this impacted your relationships with the family, the family dynamic? Any advice there for the dads?
you know, there's two sides to every story, right? We can always hear the negative, we can always think of it as a positive way. If you look at the negative, it has been hard. I mean, there are challenging times during this time, especially during the school year, trying to teach and educate our kids while trying to run a business and maintain our focus on the jobs. And I'll be honest, it was not easy at times, right? But on the bright side, you have to find the silver linings. My wife travels a lot for work on almost on a weekly basis. Now she doesn't do that, right? She's at home, the Monday through Friday that we're used to not seeing her. So we have family dinners every night, right? We tried as best as we could to have family lunches as much as possible, so we could just spend more time together. And one of the things that's been great about being at home the last couple months is all those projects, the honey-do lists that have been sitting there for years. A lot of them got knocked out during the time because we had nothing else to do, so might as well work on the garage, might as well paint the walls, might as well organize this room, clean out the closets, right, clean out the attic, just take advantage of all the stuff that we've never had time to do. And one of the proudest things that we're most proud of is I got to teach my son how to ride his bike, which was way overdue at 7 years old.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I also was able to teach my 4-year-old daughter how to ride her bike, which I
Wow.
never would have thought a 4-year-old could do that. And she was able to do that. Right. So those small little wins, you have to just savor, because honestly, those things probably would have never happened if we would not have been locked down, or been at home during these times. So just spending that time with the kids and just making sure that, that they're feeling loved. But again, they watched a lot of iPad as well during these times. I can't say that we were, the most amazing parents, because we had work to do, and iPad was an integral part of the conversation and during the time. But the time that we did spend with them, we tried to make it, as special as possible for them.
Yeah, and balancing the work at home, especially when everyone was working on over here at my household. I was already working from home, so my
Sure.
adjustment was having everyone here, and
Right.
then having to adjust with Jesse working from home and Sebastian working from home too. It was a big adjustment for everyone. So we had to set everyone up. We had to stand up
Right.
another office for Jesse.
Yep.
Sebastian had his own little workstation, and we had to just kind of like, okay, it's time. Everyone goes to their spaces.
Exactly.
And then we come back,
Same thing here.
and then we go back
Yep.
to our spaces.
That's right.
And it took a little bit of adjusting. But we're on the other side, and I think our family dynamic is better for it, without a doubt.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the fact that we have to spend so much time. I mean, we ask our kids, all the time, so what do you think about this? What's going on? It's like, well, we're just happy that you guys are home.
Correct.
They don't see it as a bad thing. They see it as, hey, mommy and daddy are home. We get to spend more time together. We're playing outside a lot more, getting out and doing our family bike rides or whatever, stuff that we always talked about doing. We never did it. Now we are. So, I mean, there are some silver linings to this, pandemic. You just have to be able to see them and appreciate them.
And I will say, man, I'm not surprised that your 4-year-old was able to pick up the bike. She's a bolt of lightning, dude.
She is. She definitely
She's a
is.
spitfire, man. She's gonna be. She's like even when we used to see her when she was little. I mean, she was focused and determined,
Yes,
and she just has this like she's just a little bolt of lightning.
she
Like,
is. She's
and I was
awesome.
like, wow, okay, and seeing her grow up and seeing her personality just be just like I'm gonna do that, and
Right.
it's like, hey, it's pretty cool. So I'm not surprised that she was able to pick up the bike riding at 4,
And it helps
especially
that
if
her
she
brother did
decided,
it. And
yeah,
it helped that her brother did it as well, right? You can see that she looks up to him. So he's like, hey, if he can do it, I can do it too. So I'm gonna give it a shot.
yeah,
So no, it's just been, we've made the experience as best as we can for our kids as much as
nice.
possible.
Nice. So one of the other things, Rodolfo, is when we first started talking about cold showers, what, 3, 4 years ago now,
Yes, that's
right? You
right.
were one of the first ones to adapt cold showers,
Yes,
being vegetarian after
yes,
UPW 2016,
that's right.
right? So what's going on with that? For the people who don't know about the cold showers, tell them a little bit about the cold shower phenomenon.
So the cold shower started. I think I was visiting my family up in Pittsburgh for a holiday. I think it was a Thanksgiving or Christmas. I don't remember, a couple years ago. And my brother introduced me to this YouTube video of this guy named Wim Hof. I forget. This is from Holland. No, from, remember,
I don't remember where he's
Ricardo,
from. He's
somewhere up in Netherlands, something like that.
Netherlands.
Anyway, yeah, Netherlands. Anyway, this guy, he lives and breathes the cold, if you will, right? He loves taking cold showers, dipping into cold rivers and lakes and bodies of water, and it just helps, I guess, keep his body young, keep his organs moving, because we live in such a state of homeostasis, if you will, right? If you think about it, our homes are set to probably 70 something degrees, low 70s, right? Our air conditioning in our cars are probably in the high 60s to low 70s. So we live in this 70-degree temperature weather. But when do we really, get cold? Especially here in Texas, it doesn't happen that often. So it's kind of a shock to the body in a good way. It kind of revitalizes your inner being, if you will. It just kind of wakes you up. So I don't know about you, but I drink coffee in the morning every day, and that kind of wakes me up. But I'll tell you what, though, if you really want to wake up and you're super tired and be re-energized, take a really cold shower, and that's better than any jolt of caffeine that you'll ever have. It's just something about, I don't know, it makes your hair look nicer. Makes your skin look, more moisturized. You just feel better after a nice cool shower. And it's nice to do it during the summer months, but if you decide to go down this path, I challenge you to do it during the winter months, because that's when you really feel the difference of a cold shower. Because unfortunately, here in Texas, our cold water doesn't get as cold during the summer months here as I would like it to be. But I know you made some adjustments, right? Then you add something to your shower head to make the water colder at one point.
I added a thermostat. I bought a shower head with a thermometer in it.
And
So
how
like that
cold
I
does it
can
get?
here at my house it'll get in the wintertime, it'll get around 65.
Okay. In
In
the
the
summer?
summertime, it'll start off around 70-ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not as cold as we would like it to be. It's not like you're jumping into a cold stream of water where it's like, 40
No,
degrees.
no. And we didn't get snow last year, so I don't know what it would be like with ice and ice on the roof and ice everywhere. So I don't know
Right.
what it would be like over there with all that.
So we went to go visit my family for Christmas this year and took some cold showers up there in Pittsburgh when it was, 30, 20 degrees outside. And that water's cold. That water's cold. That'll really wake you up for sure.
And you enjoyed that, right?
It's almost like a cleanse, if you will. You first of all, you take a pretty quick shower because it's pretty freaking cold. But when you walk out, your body all of a sudden starts warming up. You can almost see like a little steam coming off because your body will raise the temperature back up. And your body adjusts. In the beginning, you'll get pretty cold. Your skin will tighten up, and you might even get the little prickly skin, when it gets really cold outside. But, if obviously you stay indoors, you'll be fine because the room temperature is warm enough to kind of raise it back up. But it is, if you take a really, really cold shower and it's really, really cold outside, it is a whole different experience. And it will, it's just revitalizing almost. It really just jolts your body in a really cool way.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
So 4 marathons, dude. Four
Four
marathons.
marathons. Four
Chicago,
marathons.
Chicago, Dallas, Paris, and Rome.
Yes. Yeah. That was pre-kids, when we had the time to train and travel the world. And yeah, I wish I could do more. No, I would say 4 official marathons, but I'm sure I've run similar distances just in training and just to get ready for those types of events. Especially when I did the ultra marathon, those were weekends where I was in like back to back, marathons and training just to get ready to do 50 miles over a 12-hour time frame. So, yeah, man, it's one of those things where I like talking about it because not so much about the, obviously the ability to run, but also just the mental focus that it requires, during that time, which teaches you lessons in life, right? If you focus on something, train hard enough, work for it, there is success at the end. And success in running is completing a marathon, to be honest. I mean, speed isn't, is good if you're fast, but you'd be surprised the attrition rate on how many people drop out of races when it comes to marathons, especially in the ultra marathon world. Just for you to cross the finish line is an accomplishment. It took me 12 hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to do the 50 miles.
Wow.
And I found out after the fact that I think 50% of people just dropped out, throughout the day. So just the mere fact that you're able to do that, is an accomplishment. And then you attach that to business, to life, right? Whatever you put your mind to, as they say, you can accomplish. Is do you have the mental, the physical, the emotional strength to kind of push yourself through? Because it takes all that to complete a marathon. It's just as physical, because your brain will tell you stop, it hurts, quit. Emotionally, you're just drained, you're exhausted, and just to kind of push through those barriers, push yourself to the limits, is a lessons that can be used throughout life.
And that's what David Goggins talks about, that when you feel that you're physically unable to go, you actually have 40% more left in the tank.
Absolutely.
And most of us don't tap into that because our legs start to hurt, our back starts to hurt. But if you just keep pushing past that hump, it'll stop hurting and you'll get past it. Get past it. So it's pretty good. Courtney Carr. Hi, Courtney. We miss you today. She says, amazing skills you've built. She had some internet problems, so I'll be calling her after this call to help her with her tech support. Ultra marathons, Tony Robbins Firewalker, 2016. And I really appreciate your story about this. Tell us what got you to Tony Robbins, who you went with, and that whole dynamic.
So that journey began, that was summer 2016, right?
Yes.
That's when that happened. Yeah. So I think that journey probably began early that year, if not the end of 2015. We started finding out more about it. And, I was aware of Tony Robbins, but not to the extent of who he really was. So I got introduced to it through my father-in-law, Art Valdez. He was a follower early on. I think he bought the tapes, literally the tapes back in the day. He used to listen to them and just continued throughout that journey, his life. They introduced me, say, hey, this guy's coming to Dallas. We should go check it out. I said, sure, yeah, why not? I mean, I think it'd be worth the experience, not knowing anything about it. And then he's like, hey, you should bring your wife as well. You should also bring, we should bring my other daughters and their husbands, and then let's bring some business partners. All of a sudden, it grew from just 2 or 3 of us, to over a dozen or more of us that ended up going to the event. And it was interesting because that was right around the time that my daughter was born. So Brooklyn was born in April of that year, and Jackie went because I think it was in June, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, June or July.
June or July, yes, a couple months after our daughter was born. So the fact that she was willing to go, and she's like, I'll give it a half day and we'll see how it goes. 3.5 days later, she's still there jumping around, screaming with all of us, walking through fire, doing this, doing that. So it was a great experience, but even made it more special that I was able to share it with my wife, because I'm sure if I came back from that after 3.5 days and started talking and telling her about all the stuff I learned, she'd probably think I was crazy. So the fact that we were both able to do it together, able to share that experience, we now have that common language between us, which is now trickling down to our kids.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way we think, the way we act, and it kind of just soaks into them because that's just who we are now. And I'm hoping that the kids can pick up on it at an early age. What I learned at, in my late 30s, now they can learn, when they're 4 and 7 years old, which gives them a leg up in life.
Definitely, man. And big shout out to Art Valdez, man. He's I can't say enough nice things about him when I chat with other people in Anthony, Madrid. And
Yes.
I'm like, man, Art's he's a man among men. They don't make him like that. They don't make him like him anymore.
Hard to find,
sure. Dude. He's I don't know. I can't even say anything. He's a role model. He's a business owner. He's a man among men, man. He's definitely up there as far as my respect goes for him. And I plan on getting him on to talk about that. And the fact that he took the whole family, and it's like, let's all go together as a unit.
Right.
And let's all share this experience, dude.
And it was pretty cool too, is that even though he presented us with the idea, he initially was going to pay for all of us to go, but he was told, which he later learned was the best idea, everybody has to have skin in the game. In order for this to be worth it, in order for somebody to attend, they're going to have to put their own money in, right? Because there's something about you making a personal commitment to doing something like that is a big difference than it being gifted. I think we appreciated it more because it was something that we wanted to do. And we, not only, committed to going, but also financially committed as well. But it's a small price to pay, given the amount of information and value you get out of it is totally worth it. Yeah. So props to him as well for kind of just forcing us to like, hey, you got to do this, and it's on your own. But
good moment,
you'll be worth
man.
it. It was a good teaching moment for all of us. That's him. That's
Art, man. That's
absolutely
100% Art all over it. Like, hey guys, I said this, but now this is going to be better for you guys. Like, okay, sure.
Right.
Yeah. So he's awesome. So we've talked a little bit about the mindset that's trickling down to your kids. You had a great story earlier this month or last month with your son. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that's super important for me, given that I'm in financial services and stuff like that, is to teach my kids about, budgeting and saving and stuff like that. So one of the things I told him was that I wanted to make sure that he understand the value of money, because now he's wanting to buy toys and he's starting to learn about money in school. But I think there's something to learn, but also something to experience. So one day he came over with his buddies and he said, "Hey, Daddy, I want to, get paid to do some chores." And because my friends are being paid to do some chores, I was like, "Well, what are they being paid to do?" He said, "Well, take out the trash, make my bed, clean the dishes, whatever, things around the house." I said, "Okay, well, first of all, that's something that I expect you to do as being a family member in this household. That's just part of being a child. Those are the expectations for you to live in this house. If you want to help out, you're going to help out, and you're going to do that. And I'm not going to pay you for it, because that's just what kids do, in my opinion. But what I will do is I will pay you to read. And I will pay you to read books. And I will pay you, in essence, an hourly rate to learn, right?" And he got super excited about that because, first of all, he gets to make money, which is the whole purpose of him wanting to do the chores. But at the same time, he's learning something new every time he reads. So one of his main things right now is he loves to fish. So I said, okay, well, we can spend all day, watching YouTube videos about it, or we can actually go read a book about it, learn about how to fish, how to put a hook on a line, how to, put the fishing line on your reel. And then we can go actually implement that, out in the world. So I'm paying an hourly rate to read. In addition, what we've done is we've also opened a bank account for him. So in his name, we went to Bank of America, and we actually sat there. He signed his name on the documents, and he opened up a bank account where every week we pay him whatever he reads. Some weeks it's very little, some weeks a little bit more. Sometimes, a couple weeks ago, it was kind of a rainy week. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and it rained every couple of days. So I wanted to incentivize him, since he couldn't go play outside. I said, well, what if I double the rate this week, right? I'll incentivize you. So if you read more, you'll make more money. And it's just little things like that to get him to reach a certain goal. And the goal is, at the end of the summer, is for him, before he starts second grade, is, can he read a chapter book, on his own? And he doesn't know yet, but there'll be a nice little bonus at the end of the summer if he's able to do that. So you just teach him these things that, I told him, readers are leaders, right? You have to be able to read no matter how, what you do in life, because it will help you become just a better person, a better leader, a better father, son, whatever it ends up being. So anyway, so that's something that I think is super important to teach at an early age. So I encourage you, if you haven't done it, or anybody out there, to really think about that, because it's a great skill to have, and it's a lifelong skill that they can, appreciate at a young age.
And so Courtney made a comment here. She says, love that. Great methods for him to learn what they don't teach in school about money.
Absolutely. They teach him, here's what a dime looks like, here's what a dollar looks like. But it was kind of cool because we went to the store. After he got his first paycheck, if you will, we went to the store. He's like, I got $25. I said, okay, so let's see what you can buy. So we started looking at different toys. He's like, well, this is $30. I was like, okay, well, that's too much, right? You only have 25. So it's 30 more than 25. Yes, you can't buy that. It's like, what about this? This is 25. It's like, it is, you have enough money, but I reminded him there's always taxes that we have to pay on top of everything. He's like, well, that's not fair. I said, well, buddy, I think we all agree it's not, but we have to pay our taxes, right? It is what it is. So you couldn't buy something that's $25. So then we had to bring it back down. And then he started realizing, well, I want this that's 10 and this that's 15. Well, then now you're teaching him math, right? Now it's 25 plus tax. Again, can't do that. So I ended up buying something, I think it was like $14.99, right? Or whatever it was, plus tax. So I ended up paying 15 something, some change. So he started realizing, okay, I have this much money. Here's what I can and can't buy. And then if I can read, 10 more hours, I can now buy my toy that I do want. That's $30, right? Whatever it ends up being. So he starts thinking now, not just what money is, but the value of it, right? And what it can purchase. And now he's more hyper aware whenever he goes out. Hey, Daddy, I want this or that candy. It's like, well, do you have money? Do you want it? Or do you want to save it for something else? So it's just teaching him those skills early on, I think, are going to be hopefully valuable lessons as he grows up in life.
There's no doubt it will be. And these are lessons that they don't teach in school.
No. So there's some advantages to being homeschooled, by day drinkers, as they say, during these times.
Hey, man, we're not supposed to say that out loud. That's just stuff that we keep to ourselves at home.
Do the best that we can. But there are some things, to your point, that there's just some things that school will never teach. And that's where we as parents have to fill in those gaps,
Yeah.
For sure.
So big shout out from our buddy, Lupe Perez.
Oh, cool.
So he's tuning in, and that'll get us into our last segue. Tell us what you do. Tell us about your business.
So my business is Global America Financial. We do financial planning and we do insurance. So we help people and business owners, just plan and save for their future. As I'm doing with my kid, I'm also trying to do with my clients. And it's just surprising when we meet with people, just the unfortunate lack of financial knowledge that's out there, and just how money works and how it can be, how you need to plan and save for it. Because at some point, I'm hoping everybody does want to retire and stop working. Maybe not. But for the most part, most people I meet with want to do that. And just helping them understand how that all works, right? Just helping them realize, okay, if you're used to a certain lifestyle today and you want to maintain that in the future, we got to start saving for it, right? Money's just not going to grow on trees. So you have to just kind of figure out what that end goal is and how do we get there? Just like anything we do in life, right? If you want to start a business, well, how do you envision that business look like? And then how do we take the baby steps to kind of get us there? Well, it also comes down to financial planning. If my goal is to have $1 million saved up by the time I retire, well, how much do you have to put away today to help you accomplish that goal? And obviously, the sooner you start, the faster you get there. The later you start, you'll get there, but the more have to come out of your savings to make it happen. So it's just an interesting journey, helping our clients kind of navigate those waters. And we've been doing that since 2007. And what we've done over the years is evolve our business model to not just be me helping clients, but also teaching other people to help other clients. So we are what we call a broker in this world, where we have agents and agencies working for us. So we kind of instill that knowledge upon others, train other agents so they can then go and do what we do with other clients, and just continue to expand and grow our business that way.
Nice. So what does an agent do for you? What does an agent do for GAF?
So But as an agent, they are independent contractors that work with us. So a lot of them do this full time with us. That's what they do for a living. A lot of them also do it on a part-time basis, right? They want to keep their jobs, but just do something on the side to have that, what they call a side hustle, right? And so what we do is we train them, we teach them, we give them the tools to then go out there and visit with family, friends, potential clients, and kind of share the knowledge that we have, so that they can spread the word and just get people start thinking about their financial future. Because it's hard to envision a life 30, 40, 50 years from now, right? But if you want to retire at some point, it requires that long-term thinking. And it's just hard to break from that short term, right? We're thinking about next week, maybe next month, maybe next year, but to really think about 30 years from now, what does your life needs to look like from a financial perspective? It takes time. It takes time to really, focus on that. And that's our job, is to kind of help make them realize, that you need to start planning today, because if not, tomorrow's not going to look too good.
Yeah. So if somebody needs some help with their finances or is interested in learning more on becoming an agent, how do they get a hold of you?
You can find me on Facebook. I answer there. Find me on LinkedIn, or you can, shoot me an email, or, text or phone call. So I can share that information afterwards if y'all want. I can drop a message and you can see that information out there. But it's all my personal information is out there, as in like emails and phone numbers. So if you just type in Rodolfo Sierra Global America Financial in Google, you're going to find me.
Nice. Good, man.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts that you would want to share? Family, life, mindset? You're a Renaissance man.
Yeah, no, man.
You kind of are.
That.
Like
I try.
you do a little bit of everything. Marathon, mindset, everything.
I think one thing that's important that I think a lot of people don't say in what we do, that it's okay to fail. I think in when we fail, there is shame, I think, in society when it comes to failure. But without failure, we don't learn. I think that when we make mistakes is where we learn the most, because we realize what we did wrong and what we could have done better. But in success, sometimes we just forget about what we did wrong that got us there, and we don't really reminisce and think about why we achieved what we achieved and the successful part of things. So just making sure that people are aware that failure is okay and to embrace it. And then, of course, obviously learn from it, right? You don't make the same mistake twice. And that can be across all parts of life, right? Whether that's with your marriage, whether that's with your kids, whether that's in business. It's okay to fail. And it's okay to admit it. I'll share one final story, and we'll leave it here. I made a very big mistake a couple months ago. We had a pretty nasty storm that blew through North Texas here. Tornadoes. You know where I'm going with this. And one of my neighbors said, "Hey, Rodolfo, well, I think one of your shingles fell into my yard. You should probably get your roof checked out." I had mine checked out, so it wasn't mine, so it might be yours. I said, "Okay, sure, I'll go check it out at some point." A couple weeks passed, and I was like, I need to probably go look into that. Kind of walked around my house, and I really didn't see anything. So I thought it would be a good idea to, climb my roof to make sure that it was okay. Well, I don't know about you guys, but here in North Texas, the roof lines are extremely steep that we have going on, right? The hail is very damaging in North Texas. So I climbed my roof. I actually made it all the way to the tip top of my roof, which is a pretty scary height. It's probably say 3 to 4 stories when you reach all the way to the top. So I got up to the top. I don't know how I did it. Bloody knees, bloody elbows. I checked out my roof. Everything seemed fine. And then I tried to get back down, keyword being tried, and I got stuck. I got stuck on my roof on a Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. in the morning. And I had to get one of my neighbors to go knock on my front door and tell my wife that I was stuck on the roof. After she laughed for a while, she decided that it'd be a good idea to call the police department, and the fire department. And they came by. The whole neighborhood came out. to get a good laugh and chuckle as I was stuck up there. There you go. There's a picture of me on the top. I got pulled off my roof from the fire department, and they were kind enough to do a little swing across the top of my house to make sure I didn't miss anything as they brought me back down. So afterwards, after everybody got a good laugh, I sat my kids down. I told them, hey guys, sometimes parents make mistakes too, and today Daddy made a very big mistake, and that he got stuck on top of the roof because, he just made a bad decision. So what we learned from this decision is we don't climb roofs and we admit to our mistakes. So yeah, it was definitely a learning experience for myself and for my kids. Yeah, it was just funny as hell. And what the funny thing about that is, since it was a public post, I've gotten so many comments from people out of state saying, I saw your story. This is hilarious. If you're in any help with a roof, give us a call. We'll help you out. But yeah, it's something I probably won't live down for the rest of my life. It was just too funny.
That's a great story, man. That's a great story. I mean, it's good, and it's pretty awesome that you put it out there. And when you go read that whole post, it's really entertaining, especially Jackie's response. Like,
oh what? Yeah,
and,
it was,
dude.
Yeah.
Those roofs are steep.
Tell you what, man,
I wouldn't get up there. My roof is nowhere near as steep
even
as
the
yours.
fire guys, they were like, yeah, you call professionals for this stuff, and I asked them, how often do you get calls like this? I was like, well, you'd be surprised. We get them a lot. Typically during the holidays, people try to do their own Christmas lights and they get stuck up there. That's when we see it the most. But rarely do we see it in the spring, Mr. Sierra. So anyway, just, next time, give us a call. Next time, get a drone. Just, no need for you to climb up there. So yeah, never again. Roofing is not going to be part of my future career plans, to be honest. It's never going to happen again in my life.
That's good, man. And just to give everyone a quick look at what your roof actually looks like, let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
Pull up the picture of me at the top.
Yeah, pull up the picture of you at the top real quick so everyone can see.
Yeah,
that's a steep roof.
That's a steep roof.
That's a steep roof, dude.
It was scary. It was hard going up, impossible coming back down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those pitches are at least over 45 degrees. So you're looking at a very, very steep incline trying to go up and down.
Oh yeah. And you're pretty agile, dude, man. You're pretty agile. So
I made it to the top.
You made it to the top. And I think that's more than I know I could probably say for myself. So just saying. So,
but like I said, the most important lesson was able to admit my mistakes and teach my kids that we can all learn from our mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them. Just, don't ever do them again.
That's a huge lesson. Hire a professional.
Exactly.
Hire a professional. Well, man, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. And we'll have you back at another time and have Art, maybe even your wifey. She's awesome too. The whole family is full of just awesome people.
No, appreciate that, Ricardo. Thank you.
That whole side of the whole family over there. The family unit, which I'm looking forward to talking to Art about the family unit.
Absolutely.
He's the guy to talk to about that.
For sure. I will let him know.
I'll be pinging him soon. And when he's not out enjoying life, because he works hard and he plays hard.
He works a lot and he likes to enjoy the outdoors. Golfing is his latest obsession. So
it is. So
anyway, we'll get him on the show soon.
We got to make sure he gets his tea times in.
Exactly.
All right, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. For everybody else, to subscribe to the podcast, the YouTube channel, you can visit forceforgrowth.com. The replay will be posted on iTunes, YouTube, and all those other channels. We'll be back on Monday with the word of the week. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.